Hello, welcome to this lecture series on electronic properties of materials. This is lecture number 8. In this lecture, I am going to discuss about Hall effect and how Drude theory supports this or explains the Hall effect. Is the Drude prediction is correct or not based on Hall effect? This is what we are going to discuss. Okay, what is Hall effect? When a thin sheet of a conductor, metal or a semiconductor, okay, you take a thin sheet of metal or a thin sheet of semiconductor carrying an electric current, okay, if it is placed in a perpendicular magnetic field, an electric field is set up in the transverse direction inside the material. This is what we call as Hall effect. I repeat, when a thin sheet of a metal or a semiconductor carrying an electric current is placed in a perpendicular magnetic field, an electric field is set up in the transverse direction inside the material, and this is what we call as Hall effect. Okay, now let me explain this. You take a thin sheet of, say, metal, right? I'll connect these two ends through a battery, okay, and I'll place in a meter to measure the current flowing in the circuit, okay, and I'll connect a voltmeter across the across this point. So this will measure what voltage is applied between the across the plate. Okay, so this is the metal, this is the thin sheet of metal or semiconductor. Okay, let us start with metal. Okay, you take a thin sheet of metal and connect the two ends with a battery through an ammeter. Okay, so if I switch on the battery, some current will flow. So you know very well the electron will flow from in this direction. Now what I'm going to do, and you'll get some voltage also. Okay, this is the longitudinal voltage. You can say this voltage is a longitudinal voltage. Now if I place this plate, okay, see, electric current is flowing in this direction and the electric field is in this direction. You know very well, by convention we say that if electron move in one direction, electric field is actually existing in the opposite direction. Now I'm going to place this electric field or this conductor in a magnetic field which is perpendicular to the direction of the current. Okay, so let me place a magnetic field here. Okay, so some magnetic field is placed. Assume that this is the direction of the magnetic field. Okay, I placed a magnetic field here. Okay, when you place a magnetic field perpendicular to the plate, what will happen? Lorentz force will act. Lorentz force will act on the electron so that the electron starts to turn, okay, and get accumulated on this side. Okay, if I apply a perpendicular magnetic field, what will happen? Actually the electron should go in a straight line, and it should go into this wire. But what happened when you apply a magnetic field perpendicular to the direction of the current? What will happen? The electrons experience Lorentz force. Because of that, the direction of the electron turns. So all the electrons starts to turn. Okay, not all the electrons, say few electrons turns in this direction, and so that electrons get accumulated right in this side. Equally, opposite charge starts to accumulate in the other side. Okay, so because of this, there is a development of potential, right, in the in perpendicular direction to the direction of the electric field. Okay, and this, now let me connect a wire here and a voltmeter here. Let me connect a voltmeter across this direction, and I'll measure voltage, and this voltage is what we call as Hall voltage. Hall voltage, right? This effect is what we called as Hall effect. Okay, see, initially electrons are moving in this direction. Okay, you will get some current, you will get some voltage in the circuit. When I place this plate, thin sheet of the metal plate, in a magnetic field, perpendicular magnetic field, what will happen? The direction of the electron changes, and the electron starts to accumulate, okay, in one side, okay, in this direction, say for example. Therefore, equally opposite charge will start to accumulate in the opposite direction, okay, along this side. Now, due to charge separation, there is a development of potential, and that potential is what we call as Hall voltage. Okay, students, observe carefully, this is very important. Hall voltage exists only if the magnetic field is turned on. Okay, so Hall voltage is 0 if there is no magnetic field. Okay, if magnetic field is 0, right, Hall voltage also 0. Therefore, the Hall effect will operate or will exist only in the presence of magnetic field. Are you able to follow? This is very, very important. This is what we call as Hall effect. Clear? And it was found that I am not going to do any derivation here, but I am going to give you the concept. Here you will get a resistivity. You will get a resistivity in this direction. It is called longitudinal resistivity, and you will get a resistivity in this direction. It is called transverse resistivity. So, in the presence of Hall effect, right, there are two resistivity exist in the metal. Okay, what are they? Number one, so there are two resistivities. So resistivity, right? There are two resistivity. One is longitudinal resistivity. Okay, and the other one is transverse resistivity. Right? This transverse resistivity is due to the Hall effect, so it is also called as Hall resistivity. Hall resistivity. Let me represent this by the symbol rho h. Rho is the usual symbol. Rho is the usual symbol for resistivity. So rho h indicate Hall resistivity. Remember, this Hall resistivity is directly proportional to the external magnetic field strength. Okay, if you switch off the external magnetic field strength, the resistivity becomes 0. Okay, so all resistivity is equal to, we should introduce a constant, okay, and that constant is called Hall constant or Hall coefficient, okay, which is usually denoted by the symbol RH. Okay, what is RH? RH is called Hall coefficient. It is called Hall coefficient, and this Hall coefficient is actually equal to 1 by number of free electrons present per unit volume into charge of the carrier. Number of charge carriers per unit volume into charge of the carrier. Students, observe carefully. In Drude's theory, according to Drude's theory, see, this is very important, student. According to Drude's theory, in metals conduct current due to the movement of free electrons. Okay, metals conduct current due to the movement of free electrons. Correct? So these free electrons are actually called as charge carriers. They are the charge carriers, or we can say they are the current carriers. Right? Now listen, since these carriers are free electrons, they carry negative charge. So Hall coefficient, listen, the sign of the Hall coefficient depends on the charge carrier. If the charge carrier carry negative charge, Hall coefficient is negative. If charge carrier has positive charge, Hall coefficient also positive. Okay, in the case of metals, Drude said that the conduction is due to free electron, and electron carry negative charge. Therefore, Hall coefficient should be negative for metals. This is the conclusion we get from Drude theory. So according to Drude theory, Hall coefficient should be negative for metals. Should be negative for metals because Drude believed that, okay, in metals the current is carried only due to, or the current conduction takes place in metals, it is only due to the free electrons present. So according to which Drude believed that the Hall coefficient for metals should be negative because electron carry negative charge. Yes, for many metals this prediction is correct, but for some metals this prediction is quite wrong. I'll just give some example. Students, observe carefully. For copper, yes, Hall coefficient is negative. For silver, Hall coefficient is negative. For gold, Hall coefficient is negative. For many metals it is negative. But for metals like aluminium, unfortunately we get positive value. For beryllium we get positive value. For metal like lithium, I'm sorry, not lithium, indium we get positive value. And for, yeah, these are a few examples. Okay, Drude theory could not explain why Hall coefficient is positive for few metals, right? So we are going to discuss this under limitations of Drude theory as we go along. Okay, so this is what we call as Hall effect, right? Remember this is very, very important. Okay, and so this resistivity, listen, Hall resistivity is nothing but transverse resistivity. Okay, longitudinal, according to Drude theory, longitudinal resistivity is also called Drude's resistivity. Let me write here, longitudinal resistivity, okay, is also called Drude's resistivity according to Drude theory. Okay, you know very well, according to Drude theory, conductivity is nothing but number of free electrons per unit volume into E square into tau by mass of the electron. So what is resistivity? 1 by rho is nothing but resistivity. Okay, sorry, conductivity is nothing but 1 by rho. So NF into E square into tau by M. So what is rho? Rho is equal to M by NF into E square into tau. This is the formula for resistivity, and this is according to Drude theory. This resistivity is called longitudinal resistivity. And remember, in longitudinal resistivity there is no term of magnetic field here. So longitudinal resistivity is independent of external magnetic field according to Drude theory, right? According to Drude's theory, okay, longitudinal resistivity is independent of magnetic field strength, right? So this is the Drude's predictions on Hall effect. Keep this point in mind. In the next lecture I'm going to discuss limitations of Hall Drude theory. Under limitations of Drude theory, okay, I'll give the other informations about these points. Okay, yeah. I hope you have understood this Hall effect clearly. Thank you for listening.